Good morning. So I was told a few years ago that on the path of growth, when you're on the path of growth, there's always something new in your life. This is something new for me. I have never done a presentation like this, and so I'm counting on God's mercy and your understanding and your engagement, Evie. So I ask you, as we go through, if you have questions, this is an open forum. So raise your hand. Let's talk about it. There will be question and answer time at the end. I want to have a little bit of time for that. So again, my name is Jadon Wise, Ellensburg, Washington, Solid Grounds Coffee Co. Right up here. All right. Gotta get it real close. Yeah. Again, Jadon Wise from Ellensburg, Washington, Solid Grounds Coffee Co. My wife, Mindy, is here, and my parents, Matt and Dana, are here as well. And so really excited to be here and learn and grow together. It was really inspiring to hear Clyde share and inspire us for our why. It's all about Jesus. And no matter whether it's in a mobile setting or whether it's in a cafe setting or wherever we're at. So who are we? This is our family. I'm on the left, my wife. Then we have 5 children. Braylon is a fresh teenager, 13. Vienna is 10. And Finley is 8. Emmett is 5. And Amity is 3. So they are a lively bunch. And one thing we've really purposed when we started Solid Grounds was that our family was going to be integrated with us and help us in various ways, whether it's pulling shots with us or stickering cups. We were very purposeful in bringing them along the journey. Just a little bit of backstory. My wife, Mindy, was born and raised in Central Indiana and worked for a mobile or a coffee drive-through shop. And we started dating, and I started hanging out there. So that's where my love of coffee began. And then I started hobby roasting about in 2019, just playing around with a skillet and a stovetop, and fell in love. And as roasters do, they quickly run out of their roaster capacity. So it's been a fun growth. I do hold a full-time job at a tree service and pest control company that I manage. So I wear multiple hats and very blessed. So what kind of started the passion for mobile coffee trailer? Why mobile? Why would you do that instead of building a brick and mortar? In early 2024, several men in our church met together, and we kind of coined it marketplace ministry. How are we going to reach the community through, as we heard, marketplace, money, and how we bring people in? And there were several thoughts brought up of this mobile option, and so started looking around. My parents' wisdom and guidance. We got our trailer January 30th of 2025, and we opened our first event was early May of 25. So we're not even a year old. So I stand before you learning just with you, but going to share our journey together. So why we exist is very important. I talked briefly with Clyde about mission, vision, and core values, and I'm a big proponent of that. I eat up culture, and I love it. So that is one thing. As you, if you haven't started the business and you're in the beginner stages, sit down and write down why you exist. What are you out there for? And I really like putting visuals to your core values, putting little emojis or whatever you can by the core values, so that when you're having team meetings, they can remember faith-rooted integrity. You have a little spring of seed coming up that is growing. So it's a little bit about who we are, and jump into challenges. And I'm a big John Maxwell fan. I'm a fan of quotes, and we've heard several today already. But success is due to our stretching to to the challenges of life. Failure comes when we shrink from them. So, challenges. What are some challenges? This thing's going to be cutting in and out on me, isn't it, Bryant? I'll try to just raise my voice when I don't hear it, but it was a challenge to think of over the last year what all things presented challenges. And one challenge that we did not do well at was taking notes in the heat of the moment. So that's one thing I will advise as it doesn't really matter what event you're putting on or where your stage is at in business. If you can have even someone standing back in the corner observing you, watching, and you're shouting out, making notes. And I wish we would have done this more because we could have probably had more of a grasp on this. But business development was a challenge for me, just knowing all the permitting, all the licenses, things to get started in. So having someone in your corner that can guide you through that, I really appreciated that, Clyde. How the people you sometimes meet, you kind of scratch your head and be like, well, I'm glad that, in our case, Washington State L&I, Labor and Industries, didn't see that or don't know about that. But those are pivot movements. Pivot movements, they're not defining. So you realize you need another permit. We are workers in this kingdom, and we are called to abide by those permits. And so I fully endorse and encourage making sure that you are up to par on that. So why, a little bit under the business development, but why a mobile versus a brick and mortar? Lower overhead, lower startup costs. We looked at all of those options. I'm going to try to pull this closer so I can stand close to this thing. Less investment. The trailer we got was built and outfitted to Washington State L&I standards. It had not been permitted yet, but it was built to it. So we had a little bit of a jump start. I understand that can be a nightmare and can pull your hair out sometimes. I guess raise a hand, how many have a mobile coffee trailer currently and operating? Great. So we could just pass the mic around to some of you. How many are planning to, in the near future or upcoming, wanting to bring a mobile coffee trailer in? Anybody? Great. Hands up high, he says. All right, so we got a few. Great. So some other challenges in the business development and the growth was brand awareness and building a recognizable brand. Your logo and your brand matters. And in my opinion, as faith believing people, that is very important to us as well. Not having something that is unprofessional and not, I guess I'll call trashy. There's some mobile trailers out there that it doesn't feel warm and inviting. So we wanted a simple logo combined with a clear brand and color scheme. A big challenge for us in Washington State in business development is minimum wage in Washington State is $17.13 an hour. So we had to process that as we got started. Are we hiring or are we doing this ourselves? We have 5 children. I have a full-time job. We homeschool. What's this going to look like? Are we prepped for paying 1, 2, 3, however many baristas $17.13 an hour, and they keep tips on top of all that? So that looked big. How do you budget for that? How do you make sure you're profitable for that? That took a lot of working through the back end. We do have 3 baristas. I think you'll see their pictures here in a little bit. We've structured it to where we're not paying any overtime, and we're not. It still helps our bottom line on that. Do as much as you can starting out. Learn everything you can bookkeeping wise. I hated math until I started this business, and now I'm a numbers guru. I strongly encourage having your hands in as much of the startup as you can to know where you're at, because if you outsource too much, and they don't have communication back to you, you'll be blind on your profitability, on your numbers, on all that. So there are some things that we've outsourced, tax prep, stuff like that I don't need to get involved with. But your bookkeeping, that stuff, we decided we need to be involved. We need to know exactly where we're at. Well, that takes learning, growth, that takes time, which is a challenge. Marketing and customer awareness, how to get people past our coffee trailer. We're open 5 days a week plus events. We have, I think we have 13 to 15 coffee shops in our town. We have a town of about 20,000 to 25,000 people. I feel very honored and humbled that someone would change their routine and come to us. And so it's been a challenge on how to build that marketing and that culture with the team. What in mobile? What events work? What don't? What events align with the kingdom? What events don't? What are you willing to take on? A big challenge for us was honoring the Sabbath, and a lot of events are a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. Where do you draw the line? How do you do that? I don't know that I have all the right answers, but I do know, and I was reminded again that when we invest in God's kingdom, He will multiply and He will bless. And so, yeah, just working through that. Sometimes it's like, oh, the numbers that they said potentially would come in sounds like a good event to take on, but we've had to turn some down. One opportunity, but also a challenge in mobile is you can move around a lot, but also you can lose a following really fast. Especially if you plan to be open 5 days a week, you can lose your following really quick if you're not consistent. And so we found our sweet spot and moved there in November of 25, and it's been a good spot. I'll get into the equipment a little bit later, but having full hookup there has been really good versus having to tow a generator or remember to fill the fuel and all that. Menu creativity versus simplicity, operational simplicity. I can get overwhelmed when I walk into coffee shops and cafes. Sometimes it's like, I just want a caramel latte. And that's kind of my go-to. I just want my caramel latte. But also having the fun and engaging the girls on our team they always love the new and the greatest ideas. And so I guess one thing on that is the more creative you get, the more extensive the SOP needs to be. And that would be one thing in opportunities. Also a challenge is SOPs, standard operating procedures. That got drilled into us when we were starting with some business coaches that we had. You need to have a standard operating procedure for almost everything, including unlocking the trailer. You'll be surprised at how many people can be challenged with that even. Consistency and quality and training, that's kind of the same with the standard operating procedure, but just systemizing as much as you can, and that can go against the flow of someone who likes to go on the fly or be in the moment. But I was also reminded about the gentleman that took the time to sit down with an employee there in the log yard. Same can go with the customers, being willing to take the time to chat with them, but also having a system and a process so that if there is other team members, they're not feeling like something's being waylaid because somebody slowed down on that. Building and maintaining community and engagement. The events that are profitable, we already kind of talked through that. I'll just jump on down to, I guess on that, creating systems as you grow. What processes does it take for a mobile to be set up, take down, and move around? Early on, I would be the one that did all that We'd go in, unload the generator out of the trailer, make sure it was topped off. Had to drain the wastewater, fill the fresh water, help set up. So just take that into account. If you are going to be mobile, you're going to have a generator. Someone's got to be assigned to that, and it's a lot of work. It's especially with the generator. We have a 11,000 watt generator. We have a Simonelli Aurelia 220, so we have to have a hefty generator to run that thing, and so it takes strong muscles to load that thing. And I would have to get up at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, go and get it out for the girls before I had to go to my day job. And so that was a challenge. Mobile is great, you can move around, but just take into fact, you can't just unlock the door, flip the switch on, and you're rolling, especially if you have a generator like that. The other challenge in the hiring, we had just a single barista for several months, and the challenge of being heavily dependent on her. And then as we live in the sin-cursed earth, she gets sick or time off or whatever. Well, who's going to cover? Are we going to shut down completely? I mean, we do have that flexibility, but since we're mobile, but again, that loses momentum. So a lot of times my wife would have to drop what she was doing mid homeschool lesson and head in whenever somebody would get sick or was sick. And so the challenge of not having to be too overstaffed, but also not stretching ourselves thin. Scaling without losing culture, hiring standards again, personality tests. Who fits on your team? Do they mesh well? I believe there's a difference in the mobile and drive-through environment than there is the brick and mortar and standing behind the counter. It's just a little bit different. It has different flavors to it. And so is the person you're hiring going to blend well with that stress and that challenge when there's 5, 6, 7 cars backed up and they peek their head out? What type of person are they, and how do they respond to that kind of pressure? And that stress is important. Balancing and protecting family life is a challenge, and I think as any business owners, that's a challenge no matter what we're in. Moving around again meant a lot of late nights. I would go out and take the wastewater tank, the trailer to the waste dump, and refill it and take it back, and fill the generator. And so a lot of back end time commitment that isn't always. I didn't account for when we first started the mobile trailer. Even with events, if it's a multi-day event, planning ahead, like our freshwater tank's a 30-gallon tank, and so how fast does that go through? Plan for that. Have someone designated to be the gopher. We've realized, my mom's grinning because we had an event that, it was milk, and then it was oat milk, and then it was ice, and then it was syrup, and I was like, if we would have had to leave, it would have greatly hindered the operational flow and been a challenge for the girls working with us. So just as you go into an event, who's the gopher? Bring somebody on board. Like, you don't have to bring them on payroll. You can just say, hey, I'll get you a gift card or whatever if you can be my gopher. And then equipment in the mobile environment. We've had a lot of challenge with this. What's your equipment capable of when in your capacity of plugging in? Generators. What's your generator capable of? I've had a lot of phone calls where the generator's tripping. I'm not sure what's going on, and so we have to go in. A lot of times, it usually is because the air conditioner's running, the AC or the espresso machine was heating, and something else was going on. And don't overdo it when you start. It's okay that we don't provide any smoothies or frappes or anything like that, because that blender takes extra power and we don't have the capacity for it right now. It's okay to say no, especially in that mobile environment. Like, they don't have, they can have an iced coffee. They don't have to have frappes. I'm of the opinion I like to collaborate with other coffee shops, so if they want to go somewhere else, I'm okay with that. I don't want to overextend ourselves to where we can't provide a high quality service because we're putting our fingers in so many things that it's taxing our equipment, and we kind of set that standard, and it's been hard. There's been a few times I've wanted to go back and like, we should start doing smoothies. And my girls and my wife will be like, no, remember, we're not doing that. So just know what you're capable of. We have a really sweet setup where we're at now. It's at a health and wellness place. We approached them and asked if we could be there, ran the generator for a while, finally like, we love this place, and we offered to put 220 in and trench in 220. And so we have power hookup, but we do not have any wastewater dump or fresh water currently. So just be creative. Is there a way that you can make it a win-win for wherever you're parking at? We offer them, their entire staff just gets 1 free coffee a day. That's our rent. They get free coffee. That's worth it to me. How can you bless the people that you are renting from? Is there a way that you can make it as win-win as possible on that? Any questions on challenges? I know it probably felt very scattered, but any questions on that? We'll have questions at the end as well, but any questions right off? Yes. Restrooms. Yeah, great question. The health and wellness building that we're at now, they've just allowed us to be in that. You go to that restroom. We are right across the street from a grocery store as well. The challenge with that is you step away and somebody drives up, you're gone. And so that's still a discussion in progress on what we need to do with that. But with Washington, if there's a restroom on the property, it doesn't have to be in the trailer or right beside the trailer. So we just use their building. If they're closed, then they go to the grocery store. Yeah. Yes.
Do you operate as a drive-through or just a walk-up?
Great question. Do we operate as a drive-through or a walk-up? We have both. So we have one side walk-up, one side drive-through. And I'd say 90% of the people drive through. We get a few walk-up, a few from the health and wellness place, but yeah. So opportunities. Great opportunities may come in once in a lifetime, but small opportunities surround us every day. Rick Warren said that. So I like that. Looking for the small wins, looking for the small opportunities to bless and engage our customers. So the opportunities: low risk startup, flexibility and structure, our family involvement, community engagement, strong identity, and personal growth. Those are all have challenges to them on the backside as we talked, but talked about the low risk startup. The flexibility and structure, we're able to pivot and try things more frequently, or try things out, and we've just had a lot of people, when we've tried something new, they've taken it well, and if we pulled it back off the menu or decided to do or move around another location or whatever, it's like they don't really think twice about it in a mobile setting. Like, oh, well, you're mobile, you're fluid, you're willing to try things. So that's been good. The systems, we're able to pull stuff out and back in. Syrups, we're always trying something fresh. And I know a lot of this stuff is going to apply to cafes. It's going to apply to brick and mortar drive-throughs. A lot of that. Family involvement. I think there'll be some pictures here in a little bit of family stickering cups, to being gophers, to helping sweep out, to coming over and helping taste test the seasonal menus and giving feedback to how can my children, how can my family, my sister, brother-in-law, whoever, pour life into this so that we can continue to pour life into the community. How can we promote growth in my children? That's been really fun to watch my 2 older daughters really grow in their speaking and their just interaction with people. They've really grown in that. It's been fun. Community engagement, events that provide a environment for connection. what type of events are going to do that? Is it trade shows? Is it antique places? What places are really going to foster connection? We were near where the rodeo was this year, Ellensburg's big fairgrounds and rodeo, and it felt different. We enjoyed being there and we enjoyed making connections, but it felt like a different atmosphere than the antique did, or even the home and garden show. So just think through that. What events are we passionate about? What events do we want to pursue? What other organizations do we want to partner with? We have one in our community, CareNet. It's a pro-life organization that we've partnered with clear back when we were just roasting coffee. We do drip coffee with them. So what type of events stick well with you and your core values? Community engagement, watching the regulars come. It's really fun. I'm sure you guys all have the stories too of regulars that come. And just a brief story, we have a customer who, when he first came, we thought he's never coming back. He ordered a 16-ounce hazelnut latte, took a drink of it and said, not good enough, not sweet enough. So we gave it back to him, or fixed it, gave it to him. He drove off, came back, well, first of all, we didn't have hazelnut at that time. So we had toffee nut, I think. So we had that for a while. Finally, we got hazelnut just for this customer specifically. And so made the drink, not sweet enough, made it again, sent him on his way. He came back the next day, wanted a hazelnut latte, so we made it too sweet. I mean, we wrote down the pumps. We wrote down what we did to make sure that didn't happen. He's not coming back. I mean, we burned the bridge. He's going to go to another coffee shop. Came back the next day. He's almost a daily customer. And watching that relationship grow to the point that he has a construction business. And at one point, we were maybe on a vacation or out of town, and we looked at the reports. It's like, who did this $100 order? Like, where did that come from? It was this regular that we thought, and he's just quiet, hard to read, like just not sure if he's happy all the time. And here he comes in and just blows the socks off of us, blesses us. Like, wow. So just, you don't know who is going to be your regulars, who you're going to build a connection with, and what opportunities. We found out he's fundamental LDS. He's FLDS. So he's got questions that he's asking our baristas. He's got things that he's wondering about. And I was like, at first I was like, oh man, great. But I was like, wait, no. Oh man, great. What opportunity do I have to show Jesus in this session, in this customer? So strong identity. Mobile coffee is a novel idea, I think, still. I mean, it's kind of like, if I see a mobile coffee shop or a mobile food truck, whatever, my ears perk up, and I usually go try it because it's a little bit novel. Maybe not. I mean, taco trucks have always been around, but like, the specialty food and drink trailers it's novel. So it definitely catches and is an identity. And then the brand awareness, just making sure that your brand stays the same on whatever you do. That logo, where all does it go? It goes on as much stuff as it can. Personal growth, being able to step into areas of interest, but also areas that I didn't think I was interested in, and be able to grow into that, like the bookkeeping and reports and stuff like that. Just a couple wins for Solid Grounds is we have a really good social media presence. We've utilized social media heavily. You'll see a few pictures that my wife has taken, and we've taken some courses on proper picture taking and how to promote that in a very tasteful and tactful way. And support of local businesses. As your mobile, if you plan to be every day, one thing we did was bless a business, where we would take 4 drinks and go into a dental hygienist office and just say, here, on us. Enjoy. We're new to the area, and we just want to bless you. We were encouraged by our business coaches, like especially medical realm people. They don't care about sharing drinks. They love to share drinks. So just because they have 8 or 10 employees and you bring 4 coffee, they'll find a way to split them or get another straw or whatever. So that was a way to build a following and get people to come in on a regular basis. So then what are some visions for our operation? We're wanting, at least my vision is a brick and mortar at some point, and we have a large college presence there in town. So having a brick and mortar. I've also dreamed of a mobile food truck court in our community where worship can happen on a repeatable basis. So having that as kind of some visions. Any questions on opportunities before we just kind of do some snapshots and I share some pictures? I'm not sure where I'm at on time yet, but 6 minutes. Sweet. Any questions on opportunities?
Do you do any
Private events? We have not done any private events yet, and that's on my to-do list on how to charge for that and how to bill for that, because I know there's a smattering of ways to do it. A set price with a cap. I mean, yeah. So if anybody here has any feedback on that, I'd love to hear it, because that's something we've never done. And we did purchase a second machine and built a coffee cart. You'll see it in one of the pictures, but built a coffee cart as well, kind of thinking towards that line at some point, but I'm not in a hurry to get there quite yet. Anybody else? Yes. What do we do for ice? Yeah. So my parents own a cafe about a block and a half down from where the trailer's parked. So they bag and put the ice in our freezer there next to their cafe. It's very, it can be very challenging at times because they use it heavily and then we use it very heavily. So learning how to have a system and process for that on when the ice gets bagged or if we need to jump in. It is just for fun. It's Nugget Ice has been a huge hit. I don't know how many use it, but people love it. They comment on our ice all the time. So we currently just use their ice and haul it to the trailer and put it in a Yeti cooler there. We decided to take the ice maker out of there just because that was a piece of equipment that required power and water. And I was like, well, this is gonna work. This will free up some space for us to be able to put in a mini split. So we put in a mini split because we were constantly, with AC, we were having challenges with that. Great. Well, yeah, just a few snapshots. Upper left corner there is one of the pictures going into the dentist office. Just snapped that. Bottom left is bringing the family. That was like 4 days before our first opening day. Had my parents and my sister and brother-in-law and kiddos and grandma all involved on stickering the cups. So that was a lot of fun. A few months ago, we were featured on the front page of our paper. They do a new business startup, and they don't charge for it. They just feature you. So that was a lot of fun. And then there's the trailer event. And then here is my wife's handiwork on our seasonal and when we promote our new drinks. Just being very sharp and using high quality, backdrops, stuff like that. A few other just little snapshots. There's our 3 baristas there on the right. We have a lot of fun together, and I was inspired by Bryant. I think he had I seen on Sowers having once a quarter their team gets together and just has a growth time, where they, go through a book or whatever. So we're actually going through Unreasonable Hospitality, so it's kind of fun. And then the top left is some of our friends, business coaches, actually down out of Alabama. Grit and Grind Coffee is the name of them. They franchised mobile coffee trailers, so we got to know them, and they've helped us along the way. And then a little roadside marketing there in the middle. And yep, a few more pictures. There's our cart there on the right. Had a fun time at Coffee Fest in Portland last June. Would highly recommend that when it's in your area, if it's possible. So, any other questions? And I'm happy to chat anytime afterwards if you have any other questions.